Hello! I believe we could be live. But you know YouTube like I know YouTube, and anything could actually be happening. But if you can hear me, let me know now. I'm about to get into the page where hopefully I'll be able to see the chat, although it has its own mind with that as well. Yeah, I can only see half the chat again. You really hate me, don't you? You really dislike me, but not as much as I dislike you, YouTube, at times.
Right. Okay.
I know I can hear me. I can hear an echo. Thank you. Way, I am in the chat. I am live. We have video. We have sound. It's a miracle. It's been one of those days.
We have football.
We have football. Mike's watching football. He's a strange boy when I'm live, but never mind. Yeah, so you tell me. I, however, see you having trouble single tasking. Right, what I'm doing is attempting to do all of the things that should have been done earlier today. Drives. Now I'm drives missing, Mike. What is going on? I have no drives. What did you do to my drives, Mike? All my drives over there aren't working. Yes, and now my drives have gone. Oh, let me have a look at them. Oh, Mike, they have all gone. Dead, gone. Okay, we'll fly on a single drive. Good start, good start. Hello, everybody. Right, who have we got? We've got Nicole, we've got Alfred, we've got Graham, and we've got Mike. Good to have you with us. I'm having one of those days, as you can hear. Actually, where we're at now is better than where we were an hour ago, isn't it, Mike?
It is.
An hour ago, I was just sitting here minding my own business with my presentation, and my Mac died. It totally and utterly just died. What I was left with was a dark screen, as if there was power to the Mac, but it wouldn't do anything, which was when I realised I've got backlight problems in the lower right-hand corner. But I ignored all of that, determined to carry on regardless, and I'm here. But now I've realised my drives aren't. Luckily, my data's not on any of them, so we'll pretend everything's okay, and we'll soldier on. Best way to be, I think. I've got 200 gig free, just contemplating whether Camtasia can handle that. I'm hoping it can, and then we can get on. Oh, look at that. Recording quit unexpectedly. Not even started yet, but never mind. Luckily, Camtasia has a fantastic recovery process. So, Graham's not had a chance to think. That's pretty much been my week, Graham. You have my sincere sympathies. I found stuff anyway, but now you can't complain. You're not allowed to complain in case the stuff I've found isn't to your liking. But hopefully I've got a very broad range of stuff, and it's going to be. We've also been... The phrase I'd like to use is piddling around. What, don't you think that's an appropriate phrase? Trying to get cameras and stuff working. Yeah. Yes. So I'll make sure you can see my desktop when I've got rid of some of this data that I need to delete old stuff. And then hopefully I'll have even more space. And then I'll show you what we've been up to camera-wise. If you were with us last week, you may be aware we had problems camera-wise. Great, big, ugly problems camera-wise. It was all to do with wireless networks. Now, the Alexa's gone crazy this week as well. So, again, wireless networks, bane of my life. But I think we should be all right. I've belt and braced this. So, let's get my desktop shared, which is the blue background. So you should be able to see that. At which point, I'll make sure you can see desk cam. So we have, where's desk cam? There is desk cam. We also have phone cam. Oh, now I've got a laptop sat on top of it. Let's move the laptop. I'll take you around the desk and then you'll realise how much tech's involved. Right, so, other camera. Other camera's working at the moment. You've got picture in picture there, which I can flick to. Oh, look at the state of my desk. Right, so we have iPadsville, and then we have laptop. We have backup recorder. We have microphone. We have Alexa. There's Alexa. Oh, and all the stuff on the floor. and everything else. We have unboxings. There's an unboxing. I didn't even open that, did I, Mike? See, it's even in the packing there. So, at the moment, as you can see, all of these cameras are working. Obviously, what will happen the minute I actually need them to work is that they will not work. But what we've done is we've got this spare one, this one here that I'm moving across. And we can see the iPad on there. So we do have belt, we do have braces. I am confident, which is always a very bad place to be, we'll be okay. But your mileage may vary on that. Right, okay. Let's get rid of that one. And let's try and sort out this mess. Which wouldn't have been a mess. It shouldn't have been a mess, but it's been that kind of week. So, what have we got for you tonight? Now, first off, I've got that crash it's going on about. Okay, never mind that. We won't worry about any of that. We're not going to worry about anything at all, actually, are we? Let's get a system recording of that. And then we're good to go. Right, okay. So, here we go. It's our 18th show. Can you believe that? Our 18th live show. I can't quite believe that. You do realise we're only 100 MacBites behind now. Yes, we've been doing rather well. So, as I said, we've got lots and lots to show you. So I've gone for a broad range of stuff. Hopefully there'll be something for everybody. Affinity are having a sale, and I've got some of it to show you.
Paul sends his love to the chat.
Oh, hello, Paul.
Shall I read his email?
Read his email. Come across and read his email.
Gutted I keep missing them. Give my love to the chat room. I'm opening a new place, 3 bars and 1 restaurant in the same complex in glorious sunny weather. It's taking all my time right now. I will watch the replay. Paul, kiss, kiss, kiss.
Oh, Paul, kiss, kiss, kiss straight back at you. Do say hello to Paul if you're in the chat. If you've never watched a replay back on YouTube of a live event, Paul will be seeing the chat in real time, so he'll know. He'll know. So I'm going to say kisses to Paul in the chat. Now, I'll have to be very careful. I can't speak and type at the same time. There you go. Kisses to Paul. Good evening, Carl. Good to have you with us. So as I was saying, Affinity sale. Money. Money. Going to need pocket money. If you have got their apps, there's still other stuff to look at. So we'll be having a look at that. Then I'm going to revisit something that I did for MacBites Learning about 15, 16 months ago, which is StepShot Guides. Even if you saw it then, it's now fabulous. The next thing is called Mouseposé. Who's heard of that one? Mouseposé is an app that's been around for a long, long time, but it had kind of gone into disuse. I was still using it, but most of it had dropped off the end. Most of it wasn't supported by the modern operating systems, but this is a completely new version. There's good news and bad news with that, but I should talk about that when we get there. But the reason I'm covering that is I had a question about how I did something last week. And the something I did was this. So let me get that almost in the right place. This torchlight effect. I wanted to know how I did that, thinking it was in Keynote. It's not in Keynote, it's Mouseposé. So I will show you how all that is working. Then I've got a toy called Fleet. Not had too much time to play with this myself, but I'm an inveterate collector of something, a certain type of app. So, who knows what Fleet is? No cheating and doing the Googles. No cheating. Who might know what that is if I'm an inveterate collector of them? Graham should know. I know you know. I've been the queen of the burp for a while. What's the burp that I'm the queen of? Apart from shopping, obviously. And then we're finishing off the...
Ball gowns.
Not ball gowns, no. Definitely not ball gowns, handbags or shoes. Don't get me going on the handbag last night. Who's heard, just as an aside, we've got a lady and you never know. Who's heard of a handbag called a Radley handbag? I can honestly say I hadn't. And I wasn't that impressed when I saw it. But said handbag was over £800 apparently. And my mate was sat there stroking it. And yet this woman cannot understand my affinity for iPads. I don't understand her myself.
Should we sort by price?
Go on. It was a mint green colour.
Well, the most expensive is 200 and above.
Oh yes, it was definitely 200 and above. It was a shoulder strap in mint green. I'll leave you looking for that, Mike. Do I collect iPads, Graham? No, Graham. No. This is software, Graham. What do I collect millions of that's software based? So as I say, we're going to be finishing off with accessing our files on our iPads, which I can possibly, well, yes, it's over there. We started this 2 weeks ago. And then last week, we actually got the card in it. We were waiting for the card, if you remember. Well, tonight, I'm going to show you how you can take the whole device and set up to a different level. So that's what we're going to be doing. Graham's heard of Radley handbags, but not got one. I'm glad about that, Graham. I've now heard of them. I have no desire to. It was all right, but nothing that I'd look at and die over, honestly. You found it yet, the mint green one? No. Well, I'm assured it was incredibly expensive, and it was pitiful to watch the woman literally drooling and stroking it. And I wouldn't mind that she was doing that if that floats her boat, as long as the iPads are allowed to float mine. But no, I'm tech-shamed, and she's sitting there. Let's have a look at it. No, not exactly. No, it can't have been that one. No. If I'm left alone with my iPads, they'll be left alone with their handbags. But until then, no, I'm going to handbag shame them. Right, so let's have a look at the first thing tonight. And I've called it an update because we've talked about the Affinity apps. But we're talking about them again. And there's a sale on. 20% off everything. Can't say fairer than that. You see, that's much better, Graham. Laptop bags. Laptop bags are functional. And in terms of the colour, mine's Kermit green on the inside, but I don't care. It looks after my laptop. In fact, I can put 2 laptops, and I think I've had about 4 or 5 iPads in it. That is what you call a bag. And it was about 30 quid. This thing, I think I've seen them on the market, and they look just as good. Maybe I just don't have the eye. But never mind, let's go back to Affinity. So these are the desktop apps. They're both available at 20% off, and they are both available on Windows and the Mac. I bought them for Windows as well. Well, I thought you can never have too much software, like some people are with handbags. So they're available on the desktop. They're also available on the iPad. So if you've held off your Affinity Designer and your Affinity Photo on the iPad, now's the time to buy. You're saving £4 each on them. But that's not where the sale ends. They also have brush packs and other utilities that they are providing available. There is the Xenon lights, chunky markers, which I quite like chunky markers. There's also the Daub watercolour and washes, Nature, the Smoke and Fire, which I quite like, I must admit, and that Grave Etcher, which is a little bit on the worrying side. What I'll say about all of those is, do check, especially those Daub ones, because sometimes, about 2 to 3 years ago, when you bought Affinity, they gave you a freebie, and those Daub brushes could potentially be included in the freebie, because I've definitely got a Daub brush and I haven't bought it. So before I purchase anything else, I'm going to be checking what I've got and what I've not got already that came with the original purchase. But they are all 20% off. So definitely worth a look at. The other thing they've got is the books. They have a book for designer and a book for photo. Now, they are pretty expensive for books, to be honest, but they're more like coffee table books. They're very thick. They're very well put together. The only thing I'll say is it's not really tutorial based in terms of tutorials as you might expect. They're tutorial based in terms of they're like walkthroughs of artwork that people have made. And if you can pick up techniques from that as you go, then you'll learn something. The only other caveat on it is both times I've bought it, it's arrived sort of damaged. They're not exactly brilliantly packed. But I did tell them, and they assured me they will be from now on. So you've been warned. But you are saving £10 on that. So if you're in the market for a book, that is a good idea. They've also got t-shirts. Why you would want an Affinity t-shirt rather than a MacBites t-shirt, I'm not quite sure. But if you did, there you go. Now, the ones that I've bought so far, I thought I'd show you how they work. Now, the reason being, we've got another show coming up, but the next show isn't until after the sale goes off. So just in case you want to see it, to see whether you want to spend your hard-earned money on it, I thought I'd show you just that one little bit here now. That's a good plan, Graham. Get them for Christmas. Right, so it was the chunky markers. Now, as I explained, it's been a heck of a day here, hasn't it, Mike? And I've not had much time, but I did manage to download the chunky markers and make a MacBites sign with chunky markers. So what I thought I'd do is talk you through the basics of getting them, installing them, trying them, etc. Then I'll set you homework. You can get one of these brushes and try it and let me see it next week. So let's have a look at that. Now, I'm just sitting here contemplating the fact that I haven't actually had the time to uninstall the brushes that I actually installed. In fact, there you go, you can still see the artwork. This is how near the knuckle I am with preparation. Right, but that's saved, so let's close it down. Now, the brushes I've already got in here, so what I really need to do is to uninstall those brushes. So let's delete the categories. Right, you didn't see that. That was me being all organised earlier, and you didn't see any of that, did you? Oh, glad about that. Okay, now, first thing to think about. Let me just go whip back into that presentation and show you. There was something on the sales page for you to be aware of, which is the brushes on the left have 4 little icons on them, and the brushes on the right have 2 of those icons dimmed out. So what we're looking at here is these in the top left-hand corner. And what the icons mean is that they are compatible with the desktop version and the iOS version of both Affinity Designer and Affinity Photo. Whereas this one on the right is only compatible with Affinity Designer. But it is compatible on the desktop and iOS. So that is something to be aware of. I'm using the chunky markers ones, and that's why I am in Affinity Designer. Now, next thing I need to show you is what you actually get in the download, which presupposes after my crash, my horrendous crash earlier, everything's where it should be. It's a miracle. It's where it should be. There we go. Let's lose this lot because half of it's not working. Right, what I downloaded was all of that. What I've got up there is my backup of everything and my receipt. But these are the 4 files that you get. It did take me through to a page that explained how to install them, which was grand. Incorrect, but grand. So what happened was when I came to look at them and read the instructions, it said unzip them. And I thought they're not actually in a zip. All I got in terms of the actual bit to install is that chunky markers there. So that says AF brushes. Now the icon is obviously the photo icon, which is incorrect because these are designer brushes. I'm assuming I installed that one last and that's why it's stolen it. Then there's your end user license, which is just the license in terms of distributing it. Then there's a thank you, which is the image that you've just half seen on the presentation. There's also an example file for you, which is that pirate that they've used the brushes to create. But before you can use them, you need to get them installed. And that is where that file, the chunky markers, I want to say chunky monkey. I'm thinking that's ice cream, isn't it? I'm off already and we're nowhere near having something to eat yet. Right, so it's the chunky markers. And what I'm doing is putting that out of the way. In Designer, I'll get a new file, but you don't really need to, but I'll get a new file anyway, so we're ready. I'll put an artboard on it, because I always have an artboard. Right, you get your brushes panel up. Now, if your brushes aren't showing, then you're going to need to go into View Studio and down to Brushes, and that will toggle it on and off. You need to get to your brushes. In your brushes, you already should have 5 categories. And they're not bad. They're not bad, as you can see here. Let me show you how those brushes work. I'm going to get the pen tool and I'm just going to draw a wavy line like that. That's all I'm going to do. With it selected, If you then choose these brushes, you get a totally different effect. Now remember with this, these are vector, so they're scalable. You do all sorts with this, they're vector. Now if I get the really thick ones up here, like these chalk ones, right, all I drew was one line. Now look what I get when I apply a different brush. That would take you a long time to do if you were doing them individually. You've also got other things like acrylics, and you get a totally different effect. You can also get a different effect in the stroke by changing the stroke. So you can make that much narrower, or you can take it up. Okay, but all brushes do have a default size. The default size is the number next to it. So you'll notice with these, each one is 64. That's what that number's referring to. So those are some of the brushes you've got in there. Let's have a look at the watercolour ones. Oh, yes. I must admit, I create artwork in Designer. I don't actually paint and do that kind of stuff. I make my artwork with shapes mainly. I don't do this kind of textured stuff, but who knows, the day may come. So those are the ones that you've got already. But you can use loads of other brushes, including some from Adobe. But this one was bought from their store. So if I go to import brushes, and they're not on the desktop, they are over here in my chunky markers, then I can just install these AF brushes in this way, just directly, get new brushes and open. Import successful, 34 new vector brushes imported. And that's it. Now I've got chunky markers. So here are all my chunky markers. I've got lots of different ones. In something like that, I quite like that one, like the shape of it. But there's loads in here. Now, how did I make the MacBites thing? And I'll admit, I'm not the greatest artist with these, but I'll show you how I actually did that. And I did it just by making shapes. And I edited them later because I'm never quite sure when I make the shapes what shape they're going to need to be to get the best out of the brushes. So let's have a look at that. Right, got a question here. Are the brush packs available for iPad versions? They are. That's what the little icons meant. There were 4 little icons, 2 of them for Affinity Photo, 2 of them for Affinity Designer, and it's the square icon at the moment for the iPad version. So these, as they are inherently compatible with Affinity Designer for iPad. So you should be absolutely fine. Right, so I've got my... I'm wondering why I've got an artifact on there, but it's gone. Right, so I've got my artboard, and all I'm going to do is use the pen tool to make some shapes. Now, I wanted to kind of say MacBites, quite quirky, as you've seen. And as I've said, I'm not intending to do much in the way of being artistic at this point. Right, how are we doing with sound? Has everybody got sound? I'm being told I possibly have gone, but I think I'm still there. I think I'm still there. Just tell Carl it could possibly be Carl. So what I'm doing with this is I'm pressing escape when I've got my first letter, but my pen tool is still there. So then I'll put the A. I can't remember, how did I do that? Actually, I'm just thinking. Did I do it as a curly A or did I do it as a straight A? Can't remember. Let's do it like that. Let's take it up and do it like that. So it's just a line. Then I'm pressing escape again, which takes me out of it. Then I'll get my C, and you'll notice I am not being clever here. Not at all. Not at all. But I'm not worried about it because all of this can be edited later. So let's have a big B. And there we go. Now I'm intending to close that path, which I did try to do last time, but it was having a moment with itself. So literally all I'm doing, anybody could do this. Anybody, you do not need any artistic skill, which is just as well. Let's put the little T bit on it. And the last thing I need, oh no I don't, no I need another one yet. I need the E, there's the E, and an S. So escape twice. And I'll just put a little bit of a very square S in there. Now, obviously, as that stands, it looks absolutely shocking. But it looks much better when it's got a brush stroke on it. Now, I need with the T pieces, I've got 2 pieces there that make that T up. I'm going to create a group of that. So what's going on over here, each one of these is a letter from MacBites. But that one's a group and it's got 2 pieces in it. The little cross piece and the tall piece at the side. Right, so I'm going to take that M. And then all I literally all I need to do is to go in here and apply a brush stroke to it. And look at the difference that actually makes. Again, I can go in and change the stroke. So if that's a little bit too much, want it a bit narrower, I can do that. Be aware, every time you come back in here and you apply a different brush, so let's say go for that one, it does go back to 64. So when you go back to the stroke, it's gone back to 64 because that size comes from the brush. Now, obviously, that's not looking much like the one I had before. So let me fix that before we go any further. At the moment, that artboard is transparent. It looks like it's white, but it's actually, if I exported it, it would be transparent. But clicking the artboard and then going to the swatches, I'm going to make that black, which isn't the cleverest thing I've done in terms of all of the content. But if I select all of the content, that's black at the moment. If I go to my, let's say, apple colours, and choose my orange, now I can see it. Okay, and you can, that starts to look much better. It looks better in orange on black for some reason. So let's select the second one. And the same procedure. Go find a brush that works with it. And they're very different. They're very different. I think that one matches it. So let's go for that one. And then literally, you don't have to do it individually. I can just select the whole lot and apply the brush that I want. Now, wouldn't be bad if it was graffiti, would it? Right, I'm going to get do the all and put that on and try and find the one that M was, because that wasn't bad, that M. It must have been one at the bottom. That's it. It was that one. Now, I would say the biggest problem with that is that they're too angular. And that's because I have no artistic skill in that regard. But I said you could edit these in hindsight, and you can. Double click on them and your tool changes to the node tool. And you can select individual nodes. When they're selected, they're blue. And then convert them to curves, which curves it off nicely. So it makes them smooth. And from there, you can change them so they're smoother still. And that's why I don't really bother trying to get it right on the first pass. I just get a very basic shape and then do whatever I want to do with it afterwards, in post, basically. Now, I would say with that, they all need to be a smidgen smaller. So I'll make it smaller and I'll get these the bites bit out of the way. And there's the C. So that's the A. And it's not curvy enough for my liking. So double click, choose the node and just smooth out the nodes. And then you can edit it to your heart's content. So let's move that one up a bit. So you can do anything you like with this, but obviously that needs to be an A and it needs to look like an A. And this is a C and it needs to look like a C. So let's smooth that one out. That's not bad, is it? And then just get them in the right place. So I will put those as I'm working with them. Now, there's a bit of a B missing there, isn't there? I did close that off. I don't know particularly why that's doing that. That must be one of the properties of the brush. So I might want to make some changes to that. But what I do is just carry on smoothing them out and make the shape the kind of shape that I want it to be. So that's looking better so far. As I stretch that up, you can see what's happening there. And I can turn that round so it's a B like that. So I can get really quirky with this. Really quirky. Let's pull that one around there like that. And we need more of a curve on there. There we go. Do you believe me now when I say I'm no artist? But I'm saying it's a graffiti example. That doesn't look much like a B, does it? But you get the idea. The I doesn't need much, thankfully. So we'll just pop the I in place. The T doesn't really either. But we could, if we wanted, round the bottom out. So if I double click on that, that's what the one I'm looking for. That one there at the bottom, round that out and stretch that out so we get a nice curve in it like that. And that only leaves us 2. And somehow these seem to be growing, don't they? Let's give ourselves a little bit more room to work. Now the E is shocking. The E is definitely shocking. The E definitely needs work. Right, let's double click there. Choose the one at the end. Smooth it out. Stretch it out. So it looks much better. Let's take that down for the E. That one there is going to need smoothing. And it starts to look much better. Well, I think it does. Well, actually, it couldn't look much worse, could it? There we go. And the last one is the S, which is even worse. I think that was the worst letter of the lot. There we go. So let's take those ones. There we go. Now, obviously, I'm using this on lettering. And it's very quirky lettering. So it's lettering that I've just used a stroke for. So do that, group them together, and put it in the middle like that. And we got sort of graffiti-ish. But you're not limited to that with brushes. You can do more with brushes than just apply them to individual strokes. So let's move that one out of the way. You could have the stroke selected already. And then when you draw on here, with a bit of luck, what colour's on there? No, we should be seeing it, and we're not. Would we if I let go? What are you doing? Let's get that one. Oh, we definitely should. Oh, never mind. Right, I was going to show you something different anyway. Right, I was going to show you that you don't have to draw all the letters out like I did. So let's put in MacBites in a font, which helpfully is black. That's not helpful at all. So we'll make it orange and we'll make it bigger. Now, obviously, that's not the best font to do this with, but you could do it. If you go over to the stroke and you put a stroke on it, and you bump it up, and you go into here, you're going to need to take that down in size, but you can get that effect on text. Now, if you link that together with a font that it worked with, so something quite arty, Zapfino is quite arty, like that. Make that a bit smaller so we can see it all. You get a quite nice effect on that. Let's go and get a different brush. We got one that's quite narrow and taily. A narrow and taily one like that. And there you go. So you don't actually have to draw them all out if you don't want. Now, you can obviously do a lot more with that, but I'd need more brushes. So what I intend to do is get more brushes, and I thought we would cover brushes in more depth next time. Who's up for that? Who's up for brushes next time? Now, I've only showed it to you in Affinity Designer for Mac. But as I say, it does work on iPad. I can show you it on iPad if you like next time, when I've got my iPad talking. The reason I'm avoiding doing much on my iPad tonight, could you charge that for me, Mike? It's not charging while it's playing around. Just shove a charger in it. Darn thing. Told you it was one of those days. My iPad... Just shove a cable up it. My iPad needs to be attached to a different wireless network for the second demo, which means I can't really show you the iPad screen in any great detail. So I thought next time. So let me know in the chat if that rings your bell, floats your boat. I also haven't shown you the brushes that work in both Designer and Photo. And then there's Adobe brushes and how you make those work. So I thought we would look at that next time. So let me know if you quite like that idea.
Rain likes that.
Good. Good.
Carl likes that.
Excellent. Why is that not updating on my screen over here?
We all like that.
Shall I tell them what happened in the middle of last week's session? I have to have a machine on my desk, a laptop, where I can get into the control room for YouTube. So I do. I have a laptop. Let me show you that, because I can. Right, let me show you that. There you go. It's the laptop there. That one. That one there. Right, and I have, let's go into there, the live control room, which is that page there, where it's saying good at the moment. It's saying good. Let's bring that in so you can see it. It's saying good in terms of the quality. Excellent. What did it do last week? Logged me out in the middle of the session. Yeah, unceremoniously while I was broadcasting. So yes, YouTube and I, bit of a love-hate relationship. So tonight, my camera won't charge, and I can't get that on the Wi-Fi. But hey, what else could possibly go wrong? Never mind. We're all in it together, aren't we? Right. Okay. What was the next thing we were going to have a look at? Oh yes. Why aren't you moving? StepShot Guides. Who's heard of StepShot Guides? It's a service type thing. If you have, or if you haven't, let me explain why it's important. Clarify, which has been around for quite a while, and before that it was called Screen Steps, has gone into maintenance mode, which is sort of like putting an obit in the paper before something's actually dead, but you know it's on the way out. That's what maintenance mode means. Unfortunate, that. Very, very unfortunate. Now, what happened was, Mike and I were looking at it and I was saying, I can't rely on this anymore because I'm concerned that I won't be able to, edit my stuff, get my stuff up. I'm concerned. What Clarify did was it allowed you to make tutorials and post them all over the place. To your blog, it created Word file, it did all kinds of stuff. So basically, you created the document once and it pushed it out to a lot of different services, online things, documents, PDFs. It was brilliant. But then it went into maintenance mode and I was concerned. Luckily, we came across something called StepShot Guides. Now, when we found StepShot Guides, it was very embryonic. What they were looking for was basically people to take it on very, very early on and provide them with feedback. So we did. And what we did was we made a decision that we would buy a perennial license right at the beginning. Now, it's a bit of a punt. You can do that and it can work out fabulously. Or you can do that and it's a nightmare because they go bankrupt tomorrow. Luckily, it's about 18 months on, StepShot Guides has come on leaps and bounds. Now, as I say, it is a service. In terms of you pay a monthly subscription for it. But don't panic. There's a free version. And the free version allows you to put out somewhere between 5 to 8 guides a month. So if you're only doing this to support family, or you're not creating that many, maybe you do one tutorial a week on your blog, you can use it completely for free. Now, the version I've got's the Pro version. But there's nothing in the actual interface that looks different. The difference is in the outputs. So let's go and have a look at that. Right, StepShot Guides. That's the one. I told it not to show me the startup screen as well, so heaven knows what it'll do. Oh, just goes into it. Awesome. Right. What you're looking at there is the actual interface of the application that lives on your computer. So although it's a service and you're paying for it on a monthly basis, there is a version to install on your computer and another version for Windows. So it's cross-platform. Unfortunately, nothing on iOS yet, but you never know. And you need an account to log in and try it. So this is why it says EG up in the top right-hand corner. And when you open that up, it tells you what you've got here. So it gives you the product version, which is the version that's installed on this computer. It gives me my email address and my subscription type. So I've got a lifetime Pro license, and then it says active and it's Pro. So that's what's going on up there. The version here is actually alive. You can click that, and this shows you the update history. And as you can see, it's updated to 2 to 3 times a month, with all kinds of things. But what does it actually do? Well, what it does is it allows you to create a step-by-step guide to doing something on your computer. So I happen to have an article I created earlier, which was transparent video from Keynote. So what I did with this, I took the screenshots that I wanted, and then I would go through and I would put titles and details for each step. Now, the tricky part of this is taking these screenshots. That's the bit that can take you a while. Once you've got those screenshots, if you can imagine assembling them in a Word document or pages, or trying to get them up on your blog, it's a nightmare. So that's the bit that StepShot Guides takes care of for you. And you can see there is 15 steps to that. I'm not actually sure that I need all those steps. What it does is it takes the screenshots for you when you click. Now, what I need to do is to find the file and show you how I actually made that one. So I won't be using that one, I'll be making a new one, but that's what I'll actually be showing you. Where did my StepShot Guides go? Come on. Where did you disappear to? I think I closed it instead of closing the file. Now, for this to work, I'm going to need to go back into Keynote and come out of Keynote, because Keynote's obviously running for this. And now I need my anvil animation. That is a miracle. There's my anvil animation. Now, this was the file that we looked at last week, I think. It was the one, if I show you what we've got here, where that comes in, and then that comes in, and that comes in. And I wanted to export it as video with transparency, because I wanted to put a video behind it. So that's what I actually want to create a tutorial about, to show you how to do. It's not that difficult, there's not that many steps, but Keynote doesn't help you in that regard. So it's the perfect kind of tutorial for creating a StepShot guide for. Right, so I've got my Keynote file open, and I would say it's always better to take more screenshots than less. You can always delete them later. But what you can do in StepShot Guides, it's not just a case of taking a screenshot and dragging and dropping it in here. It will do it for you. So you've got a couple of options when it comes to capturing the screenshots. You've got this first one, which is capture a process. And what that means is it will go into a different mode, and it will allow you to capture multiple screenshots. It will then assemble them in StepShot Guides, and then all you need to do is come back and put in the extra bits to make it look pretty. The other way to do it is to add an individual screenshot one at a time. And the third way is to import images or import another guide. Now, the most automated way is this first way here, so this capture process, and that's the way I'm going to do it. So I click on that button and I get this window here, which is now StepShot Guides. And this is where it allows me to create to capture screen captures, either full screen, active window, selected region, or the stripe of the active window. And there's settings in there. When you go into the settings, these are actually way more powerful than you would imagine. Capture on a mouse click and keyboard. Now, I would set it to that. And what it means is, for me to be able to take a screenshot, I've got to hold down, I've got to use the mouse click and something on the keyboard. And I'm saying when the mouse is clicked and the shift key is held down, take a screen cap. If I don't do that, if I leave it at just capture on a mouse click, every single time I click somewhere, it will capture it, which sounds great. And yes, you're not going to miss whatever you need and you don't have to think about it. But you will probably end up with 300 images and have to delete 299 of them. So I leave it with the shift. You can log the keyboard event into either the title or the description. So basically, if I say Command and N, it will capture that. And then I can either leave that there or delete it. You can also choose to have the cursor included with the image or not. You can add a highlight on the screenshot, which I don't do. I don't put the cursor on there either. And if you've captured any text, then it will put that into the description. It will also create headings. Now, a lot of that's going to be like, what? Don't worry about it. Basically, come in here and make a decision. Do you want to have to hold the shift key down or not to take a screen cap? And I chose yes. The biggest second thing to think about is, do you want the mouse pointer saved or not? And I don't. So I've turned that off. That's it. That's all I needed to do. So okay to that. Those are the settings. What I now need to do is actually start the process and start making some captures. I've got to think now how to actually do this. So I'm going to hit my start button and that gives me this window. So now I'm in capture mode. Nothing actually there at the moment, but I've got to think, what do I need to do? What's the first thing they need to know to be able to do this? And I'm thinking, right, I now know what the first step is. The first step is over here in the slide layout, the background must be set to no fill. If it isn't, so you can go in there, you've got colour fill, gradients, advanced image, If it's anything other than no fill, I cannot create transparent video. So that's the first thing that I must tell them in there. So I'll take a full screen cap of that. So over here, active window. Will active window do? Yep, active window will do that. So I'll make sure I've got an active window, and all I'm doing is holding down the shift key and clicking, and I can click anywhere. It doesn't matter. I'll just click up there. That's captured it, and it's put it in here. And at the moment, I can now put that in, because right now I know why I took that screenshot. But when I get into StepShot Guides, it'd be like, oh, I've got 30 screenshots and I have no idea what I intended to do with this one. Well, this one, the step title would be ensure no background fill. And then in there, say something like, and I don't have to do this at this point, but if I do, my guide will be virtually finished when I am. So from the slide layout, ensure no fill is selected for each slide. And that's all I need to do. So that is then saved with that. What's the next thing I need to do? I'm moving it out of the way. Well, the next thing I would need to do is go into the export. At which point I have to think, what do I want next? And I think with this one, I'm going to need the full screen. I'll show you why. When I go into here and I go to File, I need to choose Export to Movie. And if I said the active window, I wouldn't get the menu at the top. So as I click Movie, I'm holding the Shift key down and clicking it. And what I've got in my window is the menu is showing in there. So that one is Export Movie is the title. And then there would be my description, which would be something like choose File, Export Movie from, no, not form, from the menu. And then I'm good to go with the next bit. Right. Now, I think what I did in here was take a few extra shots so I could explain what was going on. So I'll click, hold the Shift key down and click. That will get added in there, but that's not actually what I wanted. It's got the whole thing. I actually should have gone for the active window. So let's go back and choose the active window, and that gives me just the dialogue. Notice at this point, I'm not wasting time now putting in the titles and stuff. I could do, but I'm not going to. Right, the next thing I would want to show is that there's custom options in here. So I would click that. That's taken me up there. Then I need to explain at that stage. Now, that's not what I needed to do. Let me go back into Export to Movie. In there, Custom. That's what I wanted. I want a screenshot of that so I can explain that even when I've chosen Custom, there's things I need to change. So are we making that active window? Yes, 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 yes. Come on. That's what I wanted. Right, I need to choose this ProRes at the bottom. So I want to take a screenshot of that. And then I need to put in a custom size, which is there. And I need to take a screenshot of that. So every time I'm doing that, and I'm holding the Shift key down, I'm getting an image put into this holding area. Then I need to hit Next. So I'll just do that. And it will then want to save that. So it's going to want to save it. I'm going to put it on the desktop, which I know I shouldn't do, but I'm going to. So I'll take a screenshot of that save dialog, and then I'll export it. And then I will attempt to get that one. Brilliant. So I've got that creating movie. And it's exporting all of this to the video file on my desktop, which we saw last week. So you know what I'm doing in terms of transparent video. And now I've got the whole process captured, at which point I can click Stop. That takes me back into StepShot Guides. And now all I need to do is tidy it up. So I'm going to save it. I'll just call it Keynote video. Did I spell that right? Never mind. Right, these are what what the screenshots I took. That's what it did. These are them there. So if we start at the beginning, I took that one, which was fairly basic. That's the one I put the title in and the instructions. Now type in. Yeah, I don't want that, so I can get rid of that. I don't know why it says click on PowerPoint either. Right, that's right. That's what I want it to do. So file, export. Now actually I put export, but it's not. It's exports to movie from the menu, and it's actually movie ... So that's the kind of editing you can do once you finish the thing, and then just go through each one and do that. This first one was no background fill, which is there. It's tiny. Now I've got this huge image, and I just want to highlight that bit over there. Luckily in here you have tools to do that with. So I'll get a rounded rectangle and I will draw it around there. So I can focus their minds on that background area. And 4 is nowhere near big enough, not on there. So we'll make that 12, nice and chunky, so they can see it. I need to get that near the end, that'll do. And you can put arrows on it. So I'll go and put an arrow on it while I'm at it. Let's point to that. If you want to put, now that's pretty skinny as well, isn't it? Let's get an arrowhead we can actually see. If you want to put text in there as well, you can. So click in there. And I do like my Verdana, not Verdana, Avenir, but we haven't got that, have we? We'll go for Arial then. And at the moment it's black text, so that's not fantastic. We're not going to see it. And put there, ensure no fill. And that's not typing. Why are you not typing? There you go. Ensure no fill is selected. Right. And that might want to be a bit bigger, but never mind. Right, so that's the kind of annotations that you can actually put on these things. And this one over here, I might want an arrow. You can go to town with this. Put on as much as makes sense to you. And you'll notice, for consistency's sake, once I've done one arrow, the next arrow is the same size. So it retains that size. Then I'm into here. Now, if you remember, this was the one I said, oh, I didn't really want to do that. Let's have a look here. Yeah. Now, what I've got is that is right, apart from my spelling. So choose file, export movie from the menu might be right. Not in this step, though, it's not. Don't know why it's put that in that one, but never mind. We don't need that one. That was the one that I took that was incorrect. And all I need to do is hover and click the bin, and that disappears. So what I put in here is, you know, step title and then whatever it is. Now, I'm going to have to put something in for the export to work. So I'm just going to put export settings, and there will be some text down here. So in this case, these would be the default export settings. Yeah. And who's finding exporting transparent video might be useful for them? Because I'll make this tutorial available, and that'll solve a problem, won't it? Right, Graham's saying, Alternatives Colour Schema Studio. You're not going to believe this, Graham. Mike and I were talking about that, and I said to Mike, do you think anyone will be interested in colour utilities? He's sitting here nodding wildly. Mike said yes, and now you've suggested it. That's a definite. I have got some. They're not quite Colour Schema Studio. I'm so sad that one's gone. But yes, I've got a couple of utilities that I'm using that are very handy. So yes, we'll do that. We'll definitely do that. Mike, put that in the notes for the next show. Right, so what was I trying to show on this one? Custom settings, that's what I was trying to show. Now, obviously with this, you can save this as you go along and come back to it and make it as prettified as you like. So you're not limited to just taking it and you've got to do it as you go along. It's a proper document within a proper application that when you're ready, you're going to convert into a format that your students, learners, colleagues can understand and access. So in this one, I'd be putting the instructions. So sort of click custom from the drop down. Then what did we do? Oh, default custom options. Yeah, that's what we'll put. Default custom options. and then some information, which is sort of, 1024 by 768 is the default. But you want to change it, so let's keep moving down. So ProRes 4444, which supports transparency, which is why we are selecting it. So select ProRes, no, 1S 4444, and I think the next one was the size we wanted it, which is custom resolution. And that custom resolution, now you'll see it's got click on this and type in that. It's not done a bad job, but it's not really what I want. So I need it set to 1920 by 1080. And then we are good to go. So at this point, what I'd want to do is export it. So I'd say click next. And then I'd explain why to click next. So click next to specify a file name. Now at this point, click next. What I always do is I like in here to be putting numbers. Now that one's my favourite colour, which is that one there. So I'll leave it set like that, but to match it should probably be red, but we're going to leave it alone. And then what I do after the click next up there is I put a 1 in brackets so that they can follow along. But you can do it any way you like. So we don't need that one then, do we? Looking at that, that looks exactly the same as the last one. So I will bin that one. Then I'm in the save dialog. So save the file. And then that would be something like choose location and save the movie file. And then finally there's this step, which is Keynote export. Keynote export, yeah. And then in there, Keynote then produces the movie file. Okay, that wasn't too bad, was it? Now, it has put in a couple of headings. It's got this heading here, which says save. And it hasn't actually put anything else in. It's put anvil animation, which isn't bad, but that's not really what it is. It's transparent video. So if I go up there and go to rename, I can change that to, let's put export transparent video. Right, which gives me a couple of sections as well. Right, at that point, you've done most of the heavy lifting, but like I say, you could go crazy in terms of the animations, the annotations you put on there. This is the magic bit. We like magic. Once you've saved it, you've got these options to export and publish. Now, if you saw my last session on this and thought I've seen all this, oh no, you've not. No. They've enhanced it amazingly. Originally, you had, from memory, a HTML export. I think you could send it to WordPress, but it was a bit rough, and a PDF. And now you've got all these options. Now, the options that you're seeing here are the Pro options, the ones that I have because I got that Pro account. So I don't think the free account will let you do a video. The video's hysterical. The video is absolutely hysterical. We'll try that, but it might start screeching. But we'll try it anyway. Right, well, let me talk you through the options that you've got. The StepShot Cloud publishes it to the StepShot Cloud that you get with your account, from where you can collaborate with other people on it. The Word document actually creates a Word document with all of the screenshots and all of the text in it in an editable format. You may do that where you've got to match a corporate style or something. The video makes a video. Now it says using built-in text-to-speech. Basically, it's MacBites Siri doing a job. And I'm not joking. WordPress lets you publish it to a WordPress blog, website. PDF makes a PDF document. PowerPoint will send it to PowerPoint and create you an entire presentation based on what you've typed in there. HTML export will give you a HTML output, so a web page. Or you could just export the images to a folder and then do whatever you will with them somewhere else. Those are all the things you can do. Now, let's start off with something that's fairly basic, because the beauty of this is what you're looking at here is a source file in StepShot Guides. And you can output this in any of these ways and multiple ways. So let's do something quite simple like a Word document. I'll probably regret this, but transparent video. Oh dear, 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 dear me. Told you it's been a bad day, didn't I? Transparent video from Keynote. You can put in a description. Now what I'm going to do is put in guide description from the export and publish window. Then you'll know where the text is coming from. The author is me. I don't think I've put any watermark on there, but I might have done, you never know. And you can save multiple sets of these. So when you look in here, I've got course creation and dummy set. All right, so I could save that as well. Move on to next. And then I get to choose a template. And the beauty of this is you can edit these templates. You can create completely customized templates. What should we go for? Let's go for that internal procedure. That looks pretty, doesn't it? We like that. And then export it. Now I'm going to put it on the desktop so we can see it. I'm going to create a docx file. I should use this more, shouldn't I, Mike, and make more tutorials? If my machine didn't unceremoniously reboot itself, in fact, it didn't reboot itself, it just died, maybe I'd have more time. Right, so I can copy the path if where I've put it is shareable, which obviously my desktop, not the best place to share it from, or I can open the file, and that's what I want to do. I want it to open in Word. Are you going to open for me? Is Word having a rare think about it? Oh, you are. Jolly good. Right, now, obviously in here, it could replace the logo if I'd set it up to. I didn't set up a company department, and this template, it's there. I would probably delete that. There's also a region. So you can see you can set up a lot of variables and have them automatically populated. I would not use that font on pain of death, but that's just a personal choice. There's me. There's the date. That's American. I'd do something with that as well. You've got your company name, which I didn't bother filling in either. You've got your change history for it. Do you do change histories at work? Oh dear. Right, I just bin it and create a new one. Right, it's got a table of contents because we put in various things like that, if you recall. And here's the actual business of it. This is ugly, Mike. This is not a pretty one. Look at that font. But everything that we put in has come through in steps, step by step. So that's the point of it. If you can imagine taking those screenshots and making this file by hand, it'd take you a while. I used to do that in Microsoft Word. I once took on the job of learning an entire enterprise level system and writing a 200-page manual for it in 3 weeks. Obviously, I'm older and wiser now, with a lot more grey hairs after doing that. But there is what it looks like in Word. Now, obviously, I've said to you, that font, absolutely disgusting. Oh, who thought that was a good idea in caps? But what I can do with that, is this a style? Is it the normal style? No, it's not. So I could format it as you've seen. I could play around with that and format it. But there it is in a Word file. So let's close that down. Because we're not going to stop there, are we? We're going back to, let's save it. No. I want to get back to, where's my document? Right, let's go back and do another export. So we've done the Word one. Let's hope that the PDF ones are far prettier. So we've got that in there. Let's go to next. Now this one I do have a guide title of. I've got my elainegiles.com thing on there. I was playing around. So we'll choose that one. You can see a preview of it. Not bad at all. I haven't put a company name in, so that's going to come through like that, but I can always edit it. And I've got a full preview in here of what that looks like. Now, from the same source file, you can see just how different that looks. That doesn't look bad at all. It looks way better than the Word one, I think. I like multiple steps. What I would have to think about is maybe the screenshots, maybe cropping them a bit, so you can focus in on the area I'm pointing to rather than the rest of it, but not bad. So let's export that to the desktop. Oh no, I've put it in the other location. Never mind, I'll go find it. I've put it in the default location for... Let's whip that over here. Where is the default location? Oh, it's Google Drive. Google Drive, StepShot Guides. And it's batch process. No, it's not batch processing in Handbrake. That's a genuine one. Who knows how to batch process in Handbrake? I constantly forget. If I've looked that up once, I've looked it up a million times. This is why I have a batch processing thing going on here. Showing me that, which I'll show you. That's a genuine tutorial of mine. Genuine tutorial that I made. Right, let's have a look at that. So this I made for myself. Nothing fancy. This is just what you're supposed to do with it. Open a folder, select File Open Source from the menu, find the folder, then there's scan the files, and then there's the trick, add to queue. And then you can process the queue. So I actually made this myself, so I refer to it myself. It's for when I'm getting that old, clearly. Right, let's open the file that we've just created here, which is that one. And let's have a look at that fit page. So there's the cover page. It's made a table of contents for me because I had groupings. I had that export transparent video and I had save, and they're links. I can go straight to them. There we were. There's the first one. I like that. I think that looks much better than the other one. It's all got page numbers in it. I could change the footer. I could change everything about it if I wanted to, which makes it a whole lot quicker. And I'm not sure where I've actually got set up here when I go back into my export for WordPress. If I was sensible... Oh, I do! Look at that! I've got it set up on NWAG, so I can do that. Right, I can actually cheat and do it on that site. This is a site that we use for playing around with. Right, select post. I don't want that. And I can't move on. Why can't I click in it? Mike, what's the matter with it? Oh, verification. Well, you're verified. I don't know. I don't want to do that. I want to move on and click. Okay, that's not working. Obviously, I've not got it set up to do it to MacBites. I will do that in our slight little break. I'll explain why later. And come back and sort out that mess. That should definitely work. But the best one of all, let's be honest. Well, actually, no, the best one's PowerPoint. I love PowerPoint. Let's have a look at PowerPoint first. So, now you can choose your templates here, and you can make templates. Now, I thought that one wasn't bad. Don't know why it's called Mallorca. And that east side isn't bad. So let's choose east side and export that. This time, remember to put it on the desktop. So it's going to create a PPTX. And of course, the beauty of this is I'm not going to click open there. No, I'm not. I'm going to open it with Keynote, which you can do. Keynote natively opens PowerPoint files. Oh, for crying out loud. I've got a message on the other screen that said I don't want to open it. All right, I'll use PowerPoint. Let that be a lesson to your Keynote. So I've double-clicked that. Eventually, PowerPoint will have a think about it. Yeah, whatever. Right, so that's what it actually looks like. You've got multiple slides. This one was a section, if you remember. So you get this big red dot telling you it's a section. And then you have one page, one slide per step that you put in your tutorial. With all the text on the right-hand side. There's another heading. And right up to the end when you get a thank you. So you have a whole presentation built for you. A while back, when desktops were the in thing, we made all our documents widescreen so they look fantastic on a desktop. And now, of course, a phone and an iPad is the de facto standard. Now they don't look great if you've got to scroll side to side. Wouldn't it be fantastic if you could make a PowerPoint template that was A4? Hold that thought. We'll look at that in a future show. You can do that. Now, I actually think that is fantastic. I love that. Now, the template bit on the ropey side, potentially. Let's try a different one. Let's try that Mallorca one. And I shall put there Mallorca, so we know which is which. I want it on the desktop. I did make a custom one, which was probably on a different machine. But if you're more interested in that, I can show you how to make a custom one. Come on, you can open it. There we go. Yeah, I quite like that one. That was my favourite one. I think that is a very, very good export. I could use that in maybe an after hours when I'm working generally with, as you've seen with our Keynote file, which would save me a ton of time. There you go. So that's good as it goes, but the video. We all want to see Siri do some work, don't we? So, video. Now, the first thing that's very different with the video, you've got a lot more customization. You can choose the steps that you want. So you select the steps over there. So by putting in a tick in the box. Now, I actually want them all. So let's just put in the whole lot. So I've selected them all. What you get down here as you go through is a timeline on your video. That's taking you through the timeline of your video. Now, the text-to-speech is going to be used sort of as subtitles. So this is the text that's going to be said. You can show subtitles if you want. So that's fantastic if you need to do a video. Mike's going to get excited here. You're doing it in English, but your colleagues are Swedish. And somebody's translated it for you, and you could copy and paste it into that box. And then you don't have to speak Swedish. Then you've got your narration. Now, you can do it where it does it, or you can actually record it. You can do your own narration. At which point, do you remember that app, Mike, that Profcast? It's stepping on the toes of Profcast, which was pretty good. So you could record it, but we don't want to do that. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. We want to choose either man or a woman. Now, there's 3 different voices. Now, let's see if it starts screeching. If it does, I apologise.
I am Zira. Hello, I am Jessa. Hello, I am Susan.
Yeah, it's echoing a bit. It's echoing a bit because I can hear myself on my own computer. Right, let's have a look in here. Do you know none of these are actually Siri? None of these are actually Siri, but we'll have a little listen.
Hello, I am Benjamin. Hello, I am George.
Ooh.
Hello, I am Sean.
Right, I think Benjamin's the best there, so we'll have Benjamin. You can also output 2 different video sizes, so you could take that up to 1920 by 1080. So, having set that up, and in here, of course, you've got your different languages, so you need this at work, Mike. You so need this at work. You could actually create 4 different versions of this video, all in different languages. I'm going to be redundant at this rate. No, it could never be as quirky as me, could it, Mike? No. I need soothing now. Right, so I'm going to export that video. And we'll put it on the desktop. So it defaults back to where it shouldn't. Okay, the desktop. You get your format options, so you can do AVI if you want. I'm going to do MP4, which is more compatible, and save it out. Now, how long this will take depends on how much text you've put in, because it's working on it as it actually goes, and obviously how many steps you have within the video. Now, I've actually done this, and it's hysterical. So what I'm going to attempt to do is let you hear it by turning off my audio. I know that sounds very strange, but my audio at the moment is echoey. Oh dear, I can't see the light now. Good grief, where is it? Right, so I've got speakers on my desk, and basically my computer's muted. But when I turn it up, I can hear me. So if I play something, it's going to be echoey. But I've put headphones on now. So as long as I can get the headphones close enough to the microphone for you to hear it, you should be able to hear Benjamin talk us through this. But Benjamin's taking his sweet time exporting, isn't he? He's up to step 8. How many steps did we have? Was it 12? 11, 12? Mike, are you paying attention? How many steps have we got? No. Not a clue. Not looking. Who knows how many steps we've got? Type it in now. Oh, 11, 12. Was there a thank you on it? Maybe that was it. I only took 12. I know I did, and I thought I deleted one. There we go. It's done. So I'm going to double click that. Please don't open iTunes. We'll be there all night. Okay, so there's the transparent video. Now don't start playing it because I need to hear it. Can I hear you?
Ensure no background fill. From the slide layout, ensure no fill.
Right. I can hear it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my headphones right next to the microphone so you can hear it. Let's take it back a bit. Right. You'll start rabbiting at this point.
Ensure no background fill. From the slide layout, ensure no fill is selected for each slide.
That screeching is again because it can hear itself. But you get the idea. In fact, I'll put that up somewhere so you can share it. So you can watch that. Dread to think how bad it is. Right, let's do that then. Who can remember how I did that? How do I share stuff? Quickly. Let's mute that before I deafen myself with myself. How do I share stuff quickly with you guys? No one can remember. You never take a blind bit of notice, do you? Okay, let me show you how I share things very quickly. I have on here my drive. And my drive is my Google Drive. And in my Google Drive, I have a public folder. There's my public folder. There's my video. So I will put the date at the beginning. That's how I always date it, as you can see here. There was Christmas for Kevin. Christmas for Kevin. We're a lot nearer Christmas now than we were before. And all I need to do is drag and drop that in there. Tell me you drag and drop that in there. Come on. What you doing? Right, there it is. At the moment, it's uploading it. That's what that little symbol means. But also at the moment, it's not actually shared. Now, how big is that file? Because I made it full quality, didn't I? Oh, 1.6 meg. That shouldn't kill it. It might, but it shouldn't. Right, what I'm going to do there is share with Google Drive. And I need to... Right, anyone with the link can view it. That's what I want. Copy the link. And that's all I need to do. But now I need to get this link to you. That's where it gets hairy scary. Because to do that, I need to get it to Mike. Oh, for crying out loud. Do you remember when that thing crashed, Mike?
Which one?
When the entire machine went down. Yeah, it's taken everything with it. At my end, it was pretty simple. I didn't need to go into Google Drive or anything else. I just share it like that. The difficult part was getting it into the chat to you, because on this machine, I am not in the chat. But other than that, it was simple. So don't have a listen to it now, but you can have a listen to it later. Tell me how bad it is. But I think that's a very, very useful piece of kit. Let's have a look at the other options. Yep, taking you through the main ones there. I mean, I don't see me ever doing a video where Siri's narrating it. I mean, I can't afford to pay his wages as it is. Excellent, Mike's got that sorted for you. But I think the recording your own narration might be a possibility. What I would probably do if I wanted to do a narration like that, I don't think I'd do it through this export, because if I do, I can't make a mistake. And trust me, when I'm making a video, I make lots of mistakes. What I would do with it to make a video is take it out as PowerPoint, and there's no animation or transitions on it. So I'd export it from PowerPoint as full page PDFs, and I would just take that into Camtasia or ScreenFlow and create it in there. And I would record the audio completely separately. That's what I would do. So I'll be making all of my tutorials in that, and they'll be going up on the web when I fix that bit. Might make a note. I need to show them the WordPress business when I've got one that's working. For a future show, I think. Okay, so let's come out of that. Now, where were we over here? We were in there. Right, the question that got asked last week. I'm glad to see that you're all awake and paying attention. There was a question, and it was about an app called Mouseposé. This is Mouseposé. It's from a company called Boinks. I love that name. Brilliant. Boinks have been around for a long, long time. They make, what's that? Is it Mimeo? Mimeo?
Boinks TV studio.
No. It's renamed, Mike. It's called something like Mimeo or something like that. But it used to be Boinks TV Studio. They also make Photomagico, which is stunning. Now, Mouseposé is a bit of an odd one. A good few years ago, so 2006, 7, 8, something like that, there were lots of different apps that let you do amazing things with your mouse pointer. You could have fish following it like Koi Pond, or you could have stars escaping from it. There was lots of things you could do. And over the years, they've all dropped off the end and they've kind of gone out of vogue, which isn't a bad thing, to be honest. You don't really want it full of sparkles. Well, no logical person wants it full of sparkles. But for people like me who demonstrate computers all the time, they were a godsend because I could focus your attention like that. And they've all dropped off the end. The one I used to use, I've had Mouseposé for years, but a lot of the features stopped working and it was really in dire need of an update. So I stopped using it and I started using one called Pinpoint. Pinpoint isn't working nicely with Mojave. It's working, but when the red dot appears on the screen, it won't disappear. So it's unusable. Luckily, Mouseposé got a complete rewrite and was released about a week ago. There's a funny story with that I may or may not share in MacBites. But I'll tell you guys now. Just before I went live last week, I had it all set up. And Mouseposé popped up and said there's an update. And I thought, well, that's fine. It's the final release. I'm probably better using the final release rather than the beta. I'll install it. And I did. At which point, the beta license I had went mental. And I couldn't get my real license in it. And it was like 20 to 9. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. And it would not take the license. I copied and pasted it from the email. It was not having it. What they'd done was they'd unilaterally issued new licenses and deactivated all existing licenses. Only problem was they didn't tell me about that until 7 o'clock on Saturday morning. That wasn't good at 5 to 9 on a Friday night. Luckily, I requested my licenses be sent to me using the automated service, and I got the right license. But that's not the point. So I have paid for this one because it's the only one that I can guarantee that is actually working at the moment on Mojave. I'm having to use the different thing, which is this torchlight effect, but it does a lot more than that. So let's go and have a look at it. So it runs I've got it hidden actually in Bartender. It's in here. It's this icon here. And I'm going to take you into the preferences. And that helpfully opens up on the wrong screen. Got to love it, got to love it. Right, it does 3 things. The first set of options is called Mouseposé. Basically, what that actually is what you're seeing with that torch effect. So the first thing that you have in each of the 3 sections, the 3 visualizations it can give you, is the toggle hotkey, which toggles it on and off. So I'm using Option Control and 1, and that's turning that feature on and off. So I'm using that there. You can have it automatically deactivate after 10 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever you want to set it to. You can also activate and deactivate in there. Then you've got the options for what that actually looks like. So you've got the animate zoom. So at the moment it's taking 0.3 of a second. Let's see if we can get it to do it in 0.1 of a second. No, not like that, like that. So let's toggle it on and off now. Ooh, no, it's much faster. Possibly too fast. Let's try a 2. Let's go for a medium, a happy medium. That's not bad, is it? There we go. Then you've got the circle blur. Now, what it's talking about with the circle blur is the edges of it. So you could actually take that down to nothing. And that might actually be clearer. So that was at 10%, wasn't it? You could maybe take it up to 5 and go for sort of halfway. But I think it's actually clearer if you take it down to nothing at all. Then you've got the circle radius. You can have it much bigger. You can have it much smaller. So if you literally just wanted to highlight the mouse pointer, you could do that. That was set to, what was that, 100? Which gives you enough that you can highlight what's going on behind it rather than just the mouse pointer. So horses for courses, different settings depending. And then you've got this, which changes the colour. So you can make it much darker. You can actually take it to black. or you can take it down to nothing, and I'm not quite sure of the logic of that, or somewhere in the middle, so about there. And toggle that off. So that's one thing. That's the Mouseposé part of it. Now, the one thing they're pushing like crazy with this is, and I'm heading back into Keynote, is what you've already seen, that it works in Keynote. Now, many things don't do that. That's actually quite difficult, because you have to go into the accessibility options and allow it to control full screen and all kinds of stuff. But that just does it out of the box. Not only does it work with Keynote, it also works with PowerPoint. So, something to think about. Right, the second thing it can do, so it's the second visualization, is mouse clicks. And you'll notice with these, I've got these set up. So the first one is Option, Control and 1. And the second one is Option, Control and 2. So when I click, I get a red circle when I click my left mouse button. These are the colours down at the bottom. Right mouse button, green. You don't see that too well, do you? Let's try that. You can just about see it. Just about see it. Let's try that. There you go. And other, which is blue. Will it do that if I do 2? No, you won't, will you? Oh dear. No, other is probably when you got 3-button mouse and things like that, which I don't have. I had just a standard mouse. Now you can expand the clicks, which is that. So it expands and disappears over 0.3 of a second. And you can have sound, but we've already discovered having sound, nightmare. So I don't have that turned on. So that visualizes your mouse clicks. In terms of whether I would use that or not, I have done, but very sparingly. Because most of the time I'm videoing what I do. And if I use these options, other than Mouseposé, which I do actually like, if I use any of the 3 options, they're burnt into the video. And all of the 3 options I can put on in post. So why do I bother with this? Well, there's no point me putting stuff on in post when it's live, like now. So I need 2 sets of tools. One set of tools when I'm creating content to be consumed later, and a completely different set of tools when I'm going live, because when I'm going live, I'm just sharing my entire screen with you. I'm not sitting inside GoToMeeting or Zoom or anything like that and only sharing a bit with you. You're seeing everything that's on my main Mac screen. And I need to be able to make it look seamless. So you've seen tonight that I've been toggling that Mouseposé thing on and off to highlight things. I haven't actually done the mouse clicks, but I could do if I wanted to. And I also, you'll note, so you're looking at that. There's my mouse pointer. Look, no hands. I'm now back into Keynote. And I do all of that live. If I was doing a video, I wouldn't have to worry about the transitions, would I? But when I'm live, I have to make it happen and look like it's completely seamless. I know a lot of shortcut keys, let's put it like that. So Mouseposé comes into its own when it's live. So we'll leave that turned on. That's turned on at the minute, isn't it? There we go. Click, click, click. The other thing it can visualize is keystrokes. Now you'll see here what it's doing with my main monitor. Where do you want to see these keystrokes? So I have 3 monitors. I have, which I could show you if that camera was working, couldn't I? Can I do that? Yes, I probably could. Let's have a look. So you can see all of my monitors. Let's lose that one. And no, we don't want that either. Right, that way you can see everything. So I'm going to have to use that rather dodgy camera. The one that's on the stalk. That's our backup. Right, there's monitor number 1 on my left. There we go. Oh, you're fuzzy. Why are you fuzzy? Don't be fuzzy on me. There we go. Right, there's the middle one. So you'll get that rumbelows effect. There's my laptop. Backup digital recorder. There we go. Oh, my hand. Oh, my iPod sock. You definitely need my iPod sock. It's not an iPod sock. That's the remote control for my speakers. There you go. And there's the other one. Which is, are you going to go? Oh, there it is. It's that one there. Taking you too far. You've seen the other laptop. There you go. So there's all my monitors. And that's what that's actually showing you. So let's lose that. It's showing you these monitors here. You'll notice the middle one is mighty tiny. The middle one is mighty tiny because we're going live on YouTube. And I don't want to be broadcasting these size. This is, well, it's 2560 by 1440, which is default iMac 27-inch size. So both of those hanging off it are that. But the middle one is the screen that I want the keystrokes displayed on. And I toggle those on and off with Option Control and 3, because it's the third visualization. You'll notice that that's not in the middle. Oh, I'm going to have to get onto them, aren't I? When I started this machine and Mouseposé started, that screen was set to 2560 by 1440, and that's what's wrong with it. But you can see it does actually show you the shortcuts. They should be in the middle, and they would be if that was full screen. I will get onto them about that. But those are the 3 visualizations that you've actually got with it. Let's turn those off before I drive myself crazy. But I've got my mouse clicks turned on, and I've got my Mouseposé turned on. And then you just close it, and that's it. You can set it and forget it, as long as you can remember your 3 shortcut keys. Option Control and 1, Option Control and 2, click, and Option Control and 3, which turns on and off those. And there's my other thing, which is my 2, and that's my 1. There you go. And a 3. Can we turn that off? There we go, they're off. So it is really a set it and forget it. I don't want to actually think about that ever again now. As long as that comes on for me when I do that, and I can show you things like that, I'm happy with it. So that's how I do that. That is Mouseposé. Now, there's bad news with Mouseposé, sadly. Right, it is subscription. I know that's insane. It's at the moment on offer. That's why I'm telling you about it now. It is $7.99 a year. I think that's pounds. Don't quote me. And its normal price is going to be $9.99. So I got it at $7.99, and I think that price is guaranteed for 3 years. For me, it's worth it. Your mileage may vary. Guess it's going to depend on how often you need to highlight your screen, highlight your mouse clicks, or have your keyboard displayed on the screen. For me, that's every waking day. So for me, it's worth it. It, at the moment, as you've just seen, like that's not scaling down. There is another couple of issues with it, so I've got open tickets with them on it, but it is a complete rewrite, so I'm expecting things like that at the moment. What it is doing, and doing very nicely, is letting me use that torch effect. So I'm quite happy with it because of the torch effect. So you can get that from boinks.com. Right, next thing to have a look at. We've got another toy. Another toy. Right, did Graham ever remember what I'm the queen of? Graham, I'm the queen of browsers. A woman can never have too many browsers. Don't talk to me about ball gowns, shoes or handbags. No, it's browsers. You can never have too many browsers, and Fleet is another browser. But this one's very different. It's a quirky little browser. Let's have a look at it. It is the princely sum of $5.99 from the App Store, but let's run it. And let me show you what it does. So first of all, do you actually remember where you were? You do, that's fantastic. Right, let's lose that. Can I lose it that way? Oh, maybe I can. Right, basically that's my website, open in Fleet. Now, if I tap the Option key in here, I get my URL bar. So it's very minimal. I have to tap the Option key to get my URL bar up. But then what I can do in here is split the screen. So I can tap that and get a whole extra browser right next to the first one. That's good. I'm liking that. You can also carry on doing that. So over here, if I do the same again, tap the Option key and use that split there, now I've got 2 browsers, 2 windows on the right-hand side. So let's have a look through here. Right. My YouTube channel. Now, if I click that, obviously it will load it in there on the left-hand side. But if I grab it and drag it over there, it will open it up in that part of the window. Oh, I'm loving that. Loving that. So somewhere in here, down there, we've got my tech setup, which you've sort of half seen. So I'll drag that one into there, and there it is. There's all my monitors. that keyboard's not the one I'm using right now. Sounds like a herd of rampaging buffalo. And I've also got a new little wrist thing. Do you remember that gel one that exploded? Yeah, that's the one. So I've now got one that's got no gel in it. But everything else is the same. Oh, no, it's not. I've got more USB ports. But other than that, everything's the same. That's my old desk. That was why I got a bigger one. So I can open that up like this. So let's say we've already agreed to that and get rid of that. And I can keep on doing it. That's what's so amazing with it. So coming back over to the left-hand side and getting rid of the menu there. Tap that option key. Let's split that again. And now I've got 2 tall ones and 2 wide ones. I'm loving this. I do comparisons of stuff. And what I tend to do, or what I've been doing up to now, is opening up 2 windows and then I'll align one to the left and one to the right and then generally fiddle about with them. But this one, I'm thinking is a much better idea. So I can get any one of these links. We've got to read more on the hardware and pop that into the second window where I can do a comparison. That is so cool. That is so cool. So if you remembered now, oh, Graham says you can never have too many teddy bears. That's very true, Graham. I must admit, for me, it's panda bears. I've got quite a few, haven't I, Mike? Yeah. Probably touching 100. I adore pandas. It started as a child. I'm oversharing here, but you'll love this. I had to go into hospital for an operation when I was 4, and I'd had this panda since I was born, and they lost it. So after that, I just collected any panda. If it had a panda on it, I had it to make up for it. I'm still doing it now. How could they possibly lose my bear? The swines. I don't like doctors. Never have done since then. So that's Fleet. I think that's got legs. Do you know what's going to be the biggest problem with that, Mike? No. Remembering to use it. Because I don't think you would live in it. I think it's something you would do a specific job in. I think it would be fantastic if I could save pages and load multiple pages in. I'm going to have to investigate this. I only actually installed this probably about 6 o'clock tonight. What I'd like to do is open up 2 pages. So be able to do that automatically, the same 2 pages. That would be brilliant. I can think of a job I would need that for. But no, you can never have too many browsers, and Fleet's a new one, and I'm quite liking that. Obviously, it's going to have limitations. The first one I can think of is 1Password support. Might get on to them. But as I'm saying, I think I'd use that for specific jobs or to do comparisons. But I haven't found any sites it doesn't work with yet. And as I say, you can just keep splitting and splitting and splitting. It could look something like, do you remember the 80s when people used to stare at stocks apps? It could look like that. I'm quite liking that. So that's Fleet. You will find that in the App Store, and it is $5.99. Couldn't resist it. Can never resist a browser, me. Never, ever, ever resist a browser. Right, what we had next was the wrap-up of our long-running series. We left our intrepid former selves saying we were going to show you something next week. Well, herewith next week. And what we were doing was we were accessing our files on iOS. What we'd done was, so if you need to catch up, this is where we're at. We'd bought a toy, a RAV Power FileHub Plus. We unboxed that 2 weeks ago. And we turned it on and it had power and it was lovely. But we didn't have the card that we wanted to use to put inside it. This is the card. We got the card on sale from Amazon. Usual price is about £95 and we got it for £54. So we were rather happy with that. Right, how we're using that is Mike is putting in the tiny bit. And when I say tiny bit, I mean this bit here. So this micro SD bit is going into his Surface. But I said to him, how are you using this, basically? And he wanted to put video on that card, so the video wasn't actually on his Surface taking up room. And I said, that's all very well, but how do you access those videos on your iPad? And that was where the toy came in. You can put the card in the RAV Power and access it from your iPad. Using the FileHub Plus app that we looked at last week. Now, when I say we looked at last week, we did, but things weren't playing ball, were they, Mike? No, wasn't the best week for tech last week. Now, the thing is with the FileHub Plus app, it's free, but there was huge limitations on it in terms of you can only access 3 specific file groups, by which I mean images, video, and documents within the app. So I had a play with the images, that was fine. Had a play with the video, that was fine. Had a play with the documents, not fine at all. Ended up having to actually uninstall the app and reboot the iPad, which was the first time it had been rebooted since I bought it last October. It crashed big style. What I was doing that caused that was I was in another app and I said, send this file. So I opened the share sheet and I chose the FileHub Plus app documents as the destination, and that was the end of that. So those were the 2 big limitations. 1, I couldn't get the documents working at all, and 2, even if I could, the documents had to live inside the FileHub app, which would be eating into my space, which I didn't like. So we binned it, totally binned it, and we replaced it with FileBrowser. Now, you might think you know FileBrowser. You probably don't. They've done all kinds of things with FileBrowser. I've had it eons. So I had the one that has the blue icon. And I thought, well, I'll just install it. Then I did, and I discovered this. What are all these versions? Well, the one I had was the one on the left, FileBrowser. And I thought, well, that's fine. That looks okay. If you call something Go, massive air quotes, I'm thinking cut down version. What do you reckon, mate?
Cut down or mobile?
Mobile, cut down, yeah, but not the full McCoy. No. It is actually, in their mind, more fully featured than FileBrowser. Don't quite get that myself. But it's subscription. Now, it wasn't expensive. I think it was £4 a year, $3.99 a year. But that wasn't the point. Don't like subscription software. Then there was FileBrowser for Education. Well, I pretty much ignored that one. The only benefit that one has over the others is if you need a multi-user discount. But it is not as fully featured as the others, any of the others. So unless you're actually in education, I would forget that one. Which left me looking at the business version thinking, why is there a business version and what does that one do? Bizarrely, the business version is not subscription. So I started comparing FileBrowser, FileBrowser Go, and FileBrowser for Business. And I came to the conclusion that for me, if we ignore FileBrowser because FileBrowser Go and the business version can both do more, and I'm not buying something that does less, and I'd already bought that one, right, then to me it was a straight decision between, do you want to pay a subscription or do you not want to pay a subscription? When I actually looked at the features, so we trimmed it down at this stage to these 2. Those were the 2 that I was comparing. The subscription versus no subscription was swaying me towards the business version. The business version being $12.99, and that's a flat price, no subscription. But I then did a feature comparison between them. Now, this is the web page, and there is a lot of stuff. What you're looking at is what that actually supports. So FileBrowser Go supports a lot. FileBrowser for Business supports more. So that was the first thing for me. It actually supported more. Then I got down involved with the actual doing a comparison, which is what you're looking at now, of all the features. And the one on the right-hand side in red is the business version. And when you look down there, the business version is the only one that has every feature. The only one that doesn't have a tick in it next to that is the education volume discount purchase. So I thought, okay, if I get that version, then I'm good to go. Absolutely everything, I'm good to go. So that was what I did. Now, pro tip at this stage. I already had FileBrowser. So what I did was I went in and had a look at FileBrowser and FileBrowser for Business, and I found an option that was complete my bundle. So if you've bought FileBrowser, and I know Graham has had it years, like me, there is an option to complete the bundle. Make sure if you're going to buy the business version that you choose the option to complete the bundle. Do not tap the price that says $12.99 or you'll be charged $12.99, where the complete my bundle price is $8.99. So you can save some money. We always like saving money. So that was what I did. So let's have a look at it. So we're going to need the video, aren't we, Mike? This is going to be interesting. Right, bring across the mobile video and let's have a dabble with that. Yeah, I live in hope that it'll work. Usually die in despair, but I live in hope. Right, is it working if I plug it in? Because if you remember, I need for this to work, for you guys to see it, I need to get it working on Wi-Fi and then take it onto a cable. And it's not. Oh, well, are you kidding me? 1, it's running iTunes. 2, it says I need a software update. And 3, it's lying. Right, so I'm going to go into there and I'm going to choose USB. It's at 10. Technically, you'll be able to see that. There you go, Mike. Yeah, you hold it.
I'll hold it, you play it.
That's the plan. That's the plan. So let's get this so you can see it, which is that one there. Right, I'm going to be working around it like that. Just move that back a bit. FileBrowser's down there. Down there. Right, if you can just hold that there, that would be amazing. No, you're not going to be able to hold it steady, are you? Tell you what we'll do. Put that down. No, let me swap over and see what I can do with this one. Right, get that out of the way. And let's try this one. Is this any better? Cool, what can we see here? Ooh, you're seeing me there. And my bin. Right. That's not bad, is it? We can work with that. Don't start rejigging self. Right. FileBrowser's down there. Now, what you need to see is this is the toy. This is the toy that's got the card in it, if you remember. There's the card. 400 gig card. There. So we'll put that there. Technically speaking, this thing is attached to that network, if you remember. So down here we have FileHub plus 7. So that's the network that this device is providing for me to access. So I connect to that. That was where we were at. And at that point we had this FileHub Plus app. But now we're using FileBrowser, this being the business version. So I'm going to go into that. Right, what I've got here. My private files. Ooh, I've got my private files in here. Right, what we're looking at there. The default on this one is a dark interface. The default on the non-business version is a light interface, but you can toggle between them. So that's the first thing. That's not very clear, is it? It'll be clear enough, I hope. Right, so your private files are there. They are private files within FileBrowser for Business. Then you've got on my iPad. You've also got remote files down here. Now you can access your photo library as well, and you can sync files. So if you want to sync to a cloud service, you can do. Now, one of the reasons I went for the business version, well, actually there's 2, but they're related. You can see in here at the top there, I've got a connection to Amazon S3. The business version is the only one that connects to Amazon S3. And I wanted something that connected to Amazon S3. Reason being, I've got stuff on there. So if I tap on it, these are all my buckets. That's definite. I need to get this focused and then I need to tell it not to refocus. There you go. Well done. Well done. These are all the buckets that I have up there. And one of them is the MacBites one, which is that one. That has in it the shows and the newsletter assets. Why are you constantly reading? Oh, how can I get that to do that? I need to get it right. So let me take me out of the equation. I'm not touching that. And it's going worse. I don't believe this. Turn the light off and see if we can do it that way. Let's go dark. It likes the dark.
So do I.
Well, so do I, yes. I was just thinking anyway. So I'm attached to S3. The top one, that you can't read too well, says newsletter assets and the bottom one says shows. If I tap on the newsletter assets, These are indeed the newsletter assets. That's where we put them on S3. And it was getting annoying because I didn't have a way to get to them on my iPad. I didn't have an app that could do that. So if I do that there and tap on that, it will load it in. That's the header that we sent out on the 4th of December on our letter, our email. There's another one for the 3rd and so forth. So you can whip between them like that. The other thing that we've actually got up here is the shows. So this is where MacBites actually lives. So if I whiz us right down to the bottom, 119, there it is. So let me tap on that. It goes into, if you look on the left-hand side, full media controls. So I should, when it's had a think about downloading it, because obviously this is live up there, I should be able to play that when it's had a rare think about it. So if I find that brilliant, because one of the things I was doing, oh, are you alive? Are you alive? Yes, you're playing, I think, aren't you? Let's turn it up. Let's see if that'll work. Ooh. Hello and welcome to MacBites, episode 119. I'm an angel. Right, I'll shut that up now. I was finding it problematic to put my own music in a cloud and be able to play it. What I found with this is I don't need to play around with playlists and stuff to try and get it to work. So I've tried OneDrive, doesn't work brilliantly. I've tried Google Drive, it will play, but it's not as good as this. This gives you this whole media experience on the left-hand side to actually play albums, etc. Now, I know most of you have probably got music elsewhere. Let's go back to my locations. But where did I put mine? I actually played these from where they were, I think. I think I played them from Google Drive. So let's go into Google Drive and actually find this. It's gone funny again, Mike. I need to lock the focus on this, and I have no idea how to lock the focus on it. Is there a control to lock the focus? I can keep it on the top. I can output that. I can do everything apart from lock the focus. I'm going to lose the will to live with this, you know. I'll keep my hands out of the way and hopefully that'll be enough so you can actually see what's going on. So that's my Google Drive. And in my Google Drive, I've got a music folder. Or was it media? Let's have a look. Oh, no. It was media within music. So in my media folder, I've got the stuff that I like that's not in iTunes. One was my mum's favourite album, which I ripped from vinyl. What have I got there as well? I'll play that one. So I've organised them in the same way that iTunes would organise them. So I've got a whole album full of songs there. What I can do here, as I tap the first one, it will start to download that. Eventually it will let me play it. But if you look down the bottom on the left-hand side, it loads in, queues them up, ready to play, all the rest of the tracks in that folder. And that was what I couldn't get anything else to do. So the media play options are fabulous. You should see it coming in now with the artwork. And let's get the volume up a bit. Go on, you want to play? You know you do. I'll tell you what, you're not that quiet, I'll tell you. And I know you're playing. Where are you playing? Are you playing to some AirPods or something somewhere? Next door speakers. Wouldn't put it past it. But I can assure you that is playing. We just can't hear it. And it whips through all of the songs. So that's the only way I've been able to find to make that work. Now, I will say, coming up soon, spoiler, the same company make a media player, which looks amazing, which I'll be trying. But I haven't actually bought it yet. So let's go back to our locations. Because all of that is all very well. That gives me functionality I've never had before. Let's go back there. Right. But one of the reasons that I paid for this was access to Amazon S3. The other one was OneDrive for Business. Those two services are only supported on the business version. Get your hands out of the way, woman, and it will focus. It will. You will focus. Is there a button on this thing to focus? Is there? I'm not feeling a button, Mike. Google it for me. It's a Logitech C920. I need it to focus, preferably today. So those were the two services that I couldn't support any other way. But what we were looking at was this FileHub Plus, which I've added there. And you saw how quick that was to connect. What that's showing at the top there is the card that's in there. So if we open that up, those are the 4 folders that Mike created on his Surface. And he put in there his videos, all kinds of stuff for Excel. Yeah, that stuff. And that's coming from the FileHub Plus. But we didn't want to leave it there. Oh, no, 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 no. We have this. We have a toy. We have a pen drive. There's a story behind this pen drive. I know it's 32 gig, and I know you don't need a 32 gig pen drive to boot a system. But this one was £4.20. And the 8 gig one was £9.99. So I decided we'd have a bigger one. Now, what I need to do is unbox it. Mike, scissors. Thank you. The lurid pink ones. You'll notice Mike has the pink scissors. I have the teal ones. But they're in the drawer. Right, so let's open that. I hate these packages. Could never get in them. But we will endeavour to get inside it. How do people with disabilities get in here? I really don't know. Right, we have a brand new pen drive. There it is. Quite a heavy little thing. It's got a little... I'll try and get you to see that. Can you see through it? You can. There. So you can put it on a keyring, etc. So, what you can do with this device is at this end of it, I said there was like a rubber cap. So let's open the rubber cap. On the left-hand side, you've got the RJ45 to get it on the network. On the right-hand side, you have a USB. So let's pop that in. Right, I think that's in. Let's put it down there. And I thought to myself, well, how do you toggle between them? How do you toggle between the card and that? No, it didn't like that at all, did it? But now I've connected. Oh, come on. Come on. Seriously. Are you enjoying FileBrowser for business? Tap a star. Not now. Not in the middle of a demo. Right. What I've got listed here is the top one is my SD card and the second one is my USB drive. So I can go in there. There is a share in it. And there it is. So I can get to both of them in here very easily. But the other fantastic thing in here for accessing this device when I'm out is I'm not limited to only accessing images, videos, and documents if it was in a good mood, but it never is. I can access anything. So imagine the scene. I'm out. I'm looking at my Google Drive. I'm on my drive. And I'll pick something fairly small, but a couple of K. So we'll go back into the music. We'll go back into the media. We'll take one of my mum's favourites. Bit of a crooner, this guy. We'll take one of these. So there's 12 songs there. Right. You tap select, top right-hand corner, and you can select these. So we'll take, what have we got? There's a couple of meg. Let's take that one there. And I know which one we'll take. We won't take that one. We'll take that one. No, the one underneath. That's the one. Your Song of Love. We played that at Mum's funeral. It was a favourite. So I've got that there. What I want to do now is tap copy. That item is now copied. Now remember where it is. It's in Google Drive. So it doesn't even exist on this iPad right now. It's in Google Drive. Top right-hand corner, one item selected. What I now do is ignore Google Drive and I go and find where I want to put it. And where I want to put it is on my FileHub Plus, on my USB stick. And I can just tap paste. Paste one file here. It has to think about it. It did say 16 minutes, but it's calmed down a bit and it's copied within seconds. So now I've got that file that didn't exist on this iPad. It was in my Google Cloud on my pen drive, and I can just whip that pen drive out and give it to whoever. So this app is the glue that holds together all my clouds and my local machines. If you look down here, I've got all of my local machines. So my machines are called Angel, Faith, Marconi Mobile, Mercury, Nervate and Serenity. Would that there was any Serenity with the machine I deigned to call Serenity. That was the one that crashed earlier. You'll notice Faith. Now, why was Faith called Faith, Mike? That was the one that came back after Boomerang. The one that went back and forwards about 15,000 times. But my mum said to me, it'll be all right, that machine, and just have faith. So I decided I would call it Faith. So I've got access to all of my local machines. I've got access to iCloud. Now, in iCloud, you used to only have access to FileBrowser Business folder in iCloud, which is the lower one there. But you now have access to the whole of your iCloud drive. So if I go into here, I can go to iCloud. Here's all my folders. So my Affinity Designer stuff, for example. Again, these are in iCloud. They're not here. They're not actually here. But I've got access to all of that in there. And I can do what I will with it. It gives you access to everything that you need there, which is just amazing. You can also see in here all the other locations that you have, which you have set up from the Files app on iOS. So it pulls those through from what you've configured in there. So I've got Yoink, I've got DevonThink, PDF Expert, Dropbox, but I never use it. What else have I got? I think that's it, isn't it? Box, Amazon Drive. They're all there, and I can get to all of them. Absolutely all of them. I've also got Box listed here and Dropbox listed here. What else have I got over there? And OneDrive for Business. So there's my OneDrive. Now it's actually connecting to that. There's all the folders in my OneDrive. And that's my OneDrive for Business, which is my business account on Microsoft, which is having more of a think about. Oh, and it's gone fuzzy while it's having a think about it, but there it is. So I've got my attachments, documents, Office Lens, and stuff that's shared with everybody. So that to me is the most amazing app. I do use the Files app, but for heavy lifting where I'm going between cloud services and local devices and other apps on my iPad, you cannot beat FileBrowser. This that we talked about, the device, the RavPower FileHub Plus, is I paid £36. I think the price now is $39.99. But for what you can do with that, and obviously I've put a little pen drive in it. There's nothing to stop you sticking an 8 terabyte disk on it and doing whatever you will with it. It doesn't matter what you plug in that USB bit, so it could be a full drive. That app is absolutely priceless. As I say, I got the update because I had the old version, well, I don't know what they're calling that one, the old standard version. But that version, the blue one, on the left-hand side, has fewer features than FileBrowser Go, which is the subscription version. But the business one has the lot. So even though you might not be using it for business, I'd go for that one. You never know when you might have an S3 account, because you can get free storage on an S3 account for at least a year. And even after that, it's pennies. Absolutely pennies. We have gigs worth of data up there. We have all of MacBites going on up there. And we pay less for that than Google Drive probably. So I can recommend S3. I really can. It's not the most friendly of services, but mainly its friendliness problem was to do with the fact that there just weren't any clients. And now, of course, there's plenty of clients in terms of you've got FileBrowser, so you can't go wrong. So I can highly, highly recommend FileBrowser. Now, let's move that out of the way. Let's get rid of that. There's something we need to unbox ready for next time, which is this. There's a funny story behind this, and I seriously have not opened this yet. The other day, I got a card through the door, and it said, there's money to pay. You need to give the post office money. And I thought, I don't. I've not ordered anything I denied to Mike Flatley, didn't I? So I went back through my Amazon account. Now, going back through my Amazon account can be a hairy, scary affair. There's quite a few things on my Amazon account, quite a few orders on my Amazon account. For a start, they do free books every day, and I read voraciously, so I need the free books. So I do have a lot An absolute lot. When I say a lot of orders, I mean a lot of orders. So let me just see if I can actually show you that and just bring this on, which is just the top of my Amazon account. There you go, your orders, and there they are, 1,744 placed in the last 6 months. When I need to find an order, it's an ordeal. I went back through them painstakingly, swearing to Mike I'd not ordered a thing. I got back to Christmas. I said, look, if I'd ordered something and it hadn't arrived by now, I'd tell you about it. So I left this thing at the post office. This would be it. So Mike was working from home today and he said, shall I ring the post office and find out what that is? Oh, if you would. So I said, just ask him who sent it. So he did. And we got the message back. And I don't know whether it's actually on here or not. Does it say? No, it doesn't really, does it? It didn't say, but they said to us where it had come from. And it was Sweden. So Mike hairs off and has another look. And then I went, oh, I think I know what it is. So I had to dive out to the post office to retrieve my toy. So, not being opened, honestly, my new toy. It was a Kickstarter that I bought, and it's for my iPad. So, can we get in here? Oh my, this is sticky icky. It's for my new 11-inch iPad. There we go. So, there it is. You remember we talked about trying to get anything connected to the flaming thing? Well, this is the answer to my prayers, apparently. Now, as I say, I haven't even tried it, and as far as I know, you need a screwdriver. So I might not be able to actually plug it in and show it you tonight, but what I will be able to do is actually show you the toy, should I be able to get the sellotape off it. It is a special iPad-enabled, and iPad, probably iPad only, actually, USB-C thing. Let's try and get into it. It's a plastic case. It's not cardboard. Oh boy. Tell me that comes out. Oh my. Ah, there we go. Which way up is it? Are you that way up? You're that way up. There we go. There it is. So what we have in there, said screwdriver with screws. So a little tiny bag of screws. God, they're tiny. Oh, I can see problems when they get lost with said screwdriver. There's this thing, which is a cable, I presume, to hang it off if you want to. Oh, interesting. I've no idea how that works. But there's a cable, which I'll work out. And then there's my baby, which is that bit, which connects. That's actually very light, very light. It's a hyperdrive. And it connects to the edge of my new iPad. Sticks out the side. And it gives me USB, a headphone jack, about time. 2 card ports, so a standard SD card and a micro SD card. And pass-through power, which is over there on the left-hand side. So, for the next show, I will have that configured. Oh, I've got HDMI output as well. HDMI output on the end. Awesome sauce. Haven't got one of those for my iPad. So it's got everything on it that I could conceivably need, I'm told. I just need to get it attached and make sure it works. I'm very interested in this thing and how that works. Oh, I see. Right, what must happen is that must go on there. Like that. Is that the right way around? Curious. That must go on there somehow. Does it go on that way? No idea how that attaches. But basically, I'm working on the principle that must attach to that cable, and you can use it off a cable if you want, or you can actually push that onto your iPad and have it hanging off the side. Time will tell when I get it on my iPad. But that was my adventure today. Made the big mistake of going out just as the kids were coming out as well from school. They should be kept in till 9 at night and learn to read and write, is my opinion. And not be dog bothering me when I'm trying to get to the post office. But there it is. Another unboxing for you. So 2 tonight. I'm glad it was what I thought it was, Mike, because Mike was winding me up, saying, are you sure you've not ordered anything of a delicate nature that you're about to unbox live? So he was really making me nervous. But no, it was exactly what I thought it was. So thankfully, we were okay with that. Right, let's get that off. And where's my keyboard gone? Let's get back into the other bit, because we are now done. The next show is in 2 weeks. It is Friday, the 5th of April. How did it get to be April? Because the week after, it's Easter. This is scary. But we are going live again on Friday, the 5th of April. Now, why not next week, I hear you ask? Well, we have a MacBites live event on Monday to coincide with the Apple event. This was how After Hours started, if you didn't know. After Hours started because we said Apple were ruining the fun we were having at the MacBites Lives by introducing not much, and certainly not much we liked, and games demos. Yeah, we all nodded off in the games demos. So that was why we decided to have an After Hours, and look at us now. But Apple are up to, and they're having a Showtime thing. I have no idea what they're going to release, because pretty much they've released it all this week. We've had new iPads, we've had new AirPods, and we've had a sort of updated iMac. Basically, the difference is the price. It's gone up again. But that could be I can't say it, can I, not the B word. I think it could be a Brexit thing, but don't mention Brexit. Don't mention Brexit. So that's on Monday. That is 4:30 UK time. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're wrong. No, I'm not. America have changed the clocks. We haven't. So it's the same time in the States, 9:30 in the morning or 12:30. But we're going live at 4:30 UK time. Graham, don't be late. Think you need the day off. But I think you should be able to get the day off. It should be a statutory holiday. You could claim Apple's your religion and get the day off, I think. So that's what you need to do on Monday. I've no idea. I think it's, well, Graham actually tweeted, Graham, you're not going to like this, Graham. 10 days ago, you tweeted and you said, I don't think there'll be new hardware. Now, you can claim to be right. I don't think they've got any new hardware left to announce, have they? That's cheating of them, I think, releasing it early. But you said, I don't think there'll be new hardware. Must admit, I was sceptical. Tell you what, though, let's just say I'll be surprised if Bin 2.0 sees the light of day. That might just move them. You never know. Would like to see Bin 2.0, but given the price of an iMac, I was contemplating the purchase of a scalpel to remove a kidney to pay for it. But we would love it if you could join us on Monday. That would be amazing. Now, that's what I call good planning, Graham. Yep, take a Monday off. Good planning, Graham. That way you never have to worry about Monday morning blues, do you? You should take a leaf out of Graham's book. What Mike tends to do is try to mog off on a Thursday, though, don't you? So Friday doesn't exist. But if you did Monday as well, that would be a good long weekend. I'm liking that idea. But other than that, we'll be back on the 5th, as I've said, and we've got the Affinity stuff to look at, the brushes, and we've got the unboxing to finish off. We've got lots to see and lots to do, but in the meantime, you need to contact us, and you need to tell us what you want. Graham wants colour schema replacements. Don't we all? Colour schema was fabulous. I'm going to have to find a workaround, Graham. I am. I don't think there's anything as fully featured, and that's so surprising. All I can imagine is it just wasn't cost effective, which is a bit of a problem with software these days, isn't it? Good night, Carl. Carl's gone away. Good night. Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Now, that's even better. You need to do this, Mike. You haven't got any openings, have you, Graham? Mind you, you're a bit away from the safety and security of MacBites HQ. You're a long way off. But we do like it down there. We've both been, haven't we? But not together. We need to go together. I went down to Torquay. Stayed in Torquay and did everywhere. Did Plymouth for the day. Bovey Tracy, Buckfast Abbey. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Adored it. That was where those steps were, Mike. I was on a Get Fit campaign, Graham. Have you seen how hilly Torquay is? It was scary beans. I was a hell of a lot fitter when I got home, I can tell you. Made the mistake of walking into town, which was fine. It was all downhill on the way there. Wasn't so clever on the way back to the self-catering apartment with the food going uphill. Can honestly say not. Absolutely not. So you've got one thing to do this week. Well, you've got two, actually. I'm lying. You've got two. One thing you've got to do is get to the MacBites Live. Wouldn't be the same without you. And the second thing you need to do is tell us what you need to see in the MacBites After Hours. And or, if you'd like a longer session, the MacBites Learning. That's all you've got to do this week. Now, Graham, what have you got to eat? We've not had a bad day, actually, have we? We've had, because this is the stage where we discuss what we've had to eat. We've had a chicken salad, and then Mike made an omelette, a sort of... It's a Friday night. We do the shopping on Saturday, so throw everything in that's left omelette. That's what we tend to do on a Friday. So we had chicken in it, and we had... There was kale in that, wasn't there?
No.
Wasn't there? Oh, it must have been spinach then. It was spinach. It was green. That's all I need to worry about. It was green. Therefore it was healthy.
Green, like the handbag.
Don't remind me of the handbag. I'm still recovering from the Radley handbag.
Cherry bake.
Cherry bake. Well, jealous, Graham. Jealous. So that was lunch and that was dinner, and now I'm thinking fruit salad.
All there is.
That's all we've got.
It's too late to go for a cake.
It is far too late to go for a cake, but I am feeling that on the 5th we need to bring a cake so Graham can enjoy us eating it. He can watch and eat it remotely, thinking that would be a good idea. We'll live stream a cake to you on the 5th. There you go. Now, Mike's just busy putting that in his diary. I can buy a cake in huge letters on the 5th of April.
The 12th.
Oh, and the 12th. We're definitely having cake on the 12th. If anybody can tell me in the chat why we would be having cake on the 12th, I'll send you a slice. That could cost quite a bit, given the size of that cake. Should we buy a whole cake?
Yeah.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Can you imagine how much that cake could be? If you think of the price per slice.
£5 a slice.
It's about £5 a slice, this cake. Did I mention it was gourmet cake? And
15, 20?
You're probably looking at about £100 for that cake. But when you see the pictures of this cake, you'll understand why. Has anybody got a reason why we might be partaking of some cake on the 12th of April? It's a Friday, which means there'll be an after hours. But it's a special day. 12th of April, special day. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So have a good old think about it. Let me know in the chat. Last chance. Is it MacBite's birthday? Graham, you mean you don't have MacBite's inauguration date tattooed in a delicate place? No, no, no. MacBite's birthday is the 8th of October. So you're way off with that. Did we do anything Macish on the 12th of April? We sort of nearly.
No, we weren't into Macs.
Nearly. What date did we buy a Mac? He's lost.
Some point in April.
At some point in April. Well done, Mike. No, that was the 8th. The 8th of April we did that. 8th of April 2006 we bought our first Mac. Well, I did, and then it got pensioned off to you later, didn't it? So that the 8th of April was very close to the 12th, but no takers with the 12th. We'll leave you pondering that one. If you think of something, let us know. Social media, email, Twitter, whatever. Facebook, I'm known to partake of Facebook every... Oh, yeah, WhatsApp. No, because you have to use a phone number for WhatsApp. I don't do the phone. You know what I'm like. It rings and it's like, what the hell? Do you know there's now 3 people who've got my phone number? I'm getting very busy on the phone. Very busy. Well, you all have a ponder over that, and we shall look forward. That's the first question we'll have on the 5th. If you want to tell us on Monday, that's awesome too. Not a problem at all. But for now, we're going to head off and have something to eat, which is going to be a healthy fruit salad. Can I stick some cashew nuts with it, just to take the edge off? Excellent. I love my cashew nuts. Love cashew nuts. But for the moment, it's good night from me.
It's good night from me.
And we will both see you next time, which is Monday, UK time, 4:30. Be there. You'll find the link on the website, and we will see you guys then. Good night.